and welcome back to my channel, where I'm going to cover the additional customization options for the Sorcerer class that were introduced with Xanathar's Guide to Everything. The customizations we'll be covering in this video will allow you to enhance your playing experience for the Sorcerer class by giving you additional avenues to customize your own character. D&D does this in a very prompt, friendly way by providing you some examples that you can make use of directly or use them to creatively come up with your own ideas. The Sorcerer's customizations include things like Arcane Origins, Reaction, Supernatural Mark, and Signs of Sorcery. With the introduction of Xanathar's Guide to Everything, there are some new tables that provide these examples and potential points of inspiration that you can use to add these details to your character. The easiest way to gain access to these tables is to simply go to the Classes section and pop open the Xanathar's Guide to Everything version of the class sheet. Within that information sheet will be the various tables that you need to look at. And the very first customization you can add to your character allows you to provide more detail about how your character gained their arcane powers, be it through birth or because of some random event that occurred somewhere else in the multiverse. The limits are endless, and the more imaginative you can be, the more interesting your character might become to the rest of the party, or to the campaign world your character is traveling in. There are some examples provided within the Arcane Origins table, but I highly recommend simply using these for inspiration. While they are good, I don't feel they will have a player's stamp on them that would make a player like it so much, if that makes any sense. So simply using these options is still there for you to make use of, and it's entirely up to you as to which method you wish to use. Now, the best place to store this is going to be within the Notes section of the actual Notes tab here on your character sheet. And the reason why I say that is because there really isn't anything related to your personality traits, your ideals, bonds, flaws, or even your appearance when it comes to the Arcane Origin itself, unless you're talking about a third toe has appeared or something like that. But for the most part, it makes more sense to be in the Notes section. The next customization defines how others reacted to your new supernatural powers when they manifested. In this case, it allows you to define what your character's expectations are when their powers are used in the presence of other creatures. Will they react with fear, joy, or will they have no reaction at all? This expectation would have been defined by past experience when your character first manifested their powers. As such, that experience is going to have ingrained itself into your character's responses and may make them decide not to use their powers unless no one else is around. It's all going to come down to the superstitions that every single creature within that particular world that your character is playing in is going to actually have in relation to sorcery and sorceress powers. Some worlds that aren't necessarily geared towards magic, but do have some magic in them, might be more suspicious of that kind of power, whereas other worlds that have magic prevalent all over the place may not care. For example, will your character be shy about using their power because an elder in your character's village, when they grew up, shunned your character because they were jealous of your abilities, and as a result, your character's not comfortable using them around others? This could be placed in the personality section of the Notes tab, but I still recommend it be stored in the Notes section itself, as it will give you a little bit more freedom with its description, and you won't feel constrained to just explaining how it applies to your character's personality. Another customization your character has gained relates to if they have any supernatural marks because of the powers your character now wields. These can range from new appendages, differences in skin tone, eye color, or hair color, or any other kind of physical appearance-related change that occurred to your character at the time the powers appeared. It could be something that is glaringly obvious or so subtle it's almost not worth mentioning in conversation. Again, this is something that you should create to make it more personal to your own character and simply use the table options that are here for inspiration. As this is applicable to your character's appearance, the best place for this is going to be within the appearance section of the Notes tab on your character sheet, because it all relates to how your character is going to look. Even if it's a hidden feature, who knows? You might end up in a social situation where you have to explain what that hidden feature is. And the final customization is what allows you to describe what happens when your character uses their abilities. Maybe there's a darkening or a brightening of the light in the immediate area around your character as they're casting their spells. Maybe there's a subtle change in wind that remains near for a time, or even a crackling sound that remains in the air near your character as your character releases their grip on that power. It's something to tell others that your character has just cast a spell of some kind, and to leave a residual trace, if you will, that a spell has been cast in that immediate area. And there's a bit of an after effect as a result, or an afterglow of that power that remains around your character, causing this minor disturbance in that immediate area. And if your character chooses to leave that area, that may remain behind. There are 2 locations on your character sheet where it is most appropriate to put this information. If you're going to have something that's visually apparent, then you're going to want to throw this into the appearance section. However, if it's going to be something that is subtle, or even something that is not visually apparent but is still something that can be detected or is environmental, then you'll want to throw that in the notes section. That way, you've at least got that separation there so that you know, oh, this isn't a visual thing, this is more of an environmental thing, or anything along those particular lines. So all of the examples presented within the tables can be used directly, meaning that you can just simply drag and drop them into place, or you can choose to go ahead and actually roll against that particular table, which I've already done here. So I'm going to drag and drop that into place. However, you don't necessarily have to use these as they are written. You could actually add them into here and then use them for a little bit of inspiration and just expand on that significantly to make it your own, specific to your character. And the more details you provide to these customizations, the more connected to that character you will become, and may even be rewarded for that by having the DM include some of that information within their campaign in some way. For example, the after effects could be used to help track your character down if you're being hunted, or if there's an appearance change and all of a sudden your character, let's say you have another toe added or another finger on your hand added, then people are going to question that. So it'll be something that people will pay attention to. And if your character's trying to hide, well, it's going to be a little bit harder if they're not hiding their hand, or they're wearing sandals and all of a sudden that toe is quite apparent. Things like that. The Sorcerer is a class I've only seen a handful of players use, and I'm not sure why. It seems like it can be a lot of fun. And these customizations definitely provide another layer of creative design any player can use for any character of this particular class, and it really makes their characters much more interesting. But that does bring us to the end of this particular video. I want to thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I wish to thank you for taking the time to watch this particular video. I hope you found it informative and useful to familiarizing yourself with Fantasy Grounds in general, and that you had fun in the process. If you found the video useful and you liked the content of the particular video, go ahead and click that like button to let me know. And if you have any questions specific to the topic covered by this particular video, or just have some comments in general, please feel free to post something in the comments section, and I will do my best to respond to any questions that are asked. Additionally, I do release content quite regularly, and it's generally specific to Fantasy Grounds or 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons at this time. So if you'd like to be notified when new videos come out, go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell to ensure that notification is sent to you when I release a new video.